Today we're going to talk about types of verbs. And most people, when you think of verbs, associate with action words. It's what you've commonly been taught over the years that when you hear the word verb, you think action word. But what we're going to talk about right now is the fact that there are actually three types of verbs. Each one has a different job and a different purpose in our writing. So the first section that you have on your handout is what is a verb? A verb is a word that shows action, which is what you commonly know what to do, or it links what you might not know it does. It links the subject of a sentence to another word in the sentence. And there are three types of verbs. There is the one we commonly know, the action verb. But then you also have linking verbs and you have helping verbs. All do different jobs within our writing. Let's discuss each one of these individually, following the order on your handout. The first one is action verbs. And as we said to begin this video, most verbs are action verbs. You're going to commonly see those performing some action, the subject performing some action in the sentence, and that is the verb. Action verbs tell us what the subject is doing. I could give a million different examples here. I'm going to give you 5 to include on your handout. Words such as ran, hide, walk, swim, or told. Things that we can see someone doing or recognize the action in someone doing if we're reading a sentence. Most common one, kind of verb we don't have to spend too much time on. Let's turn our attention to the next kind of verb, and that would be the linking verb. A linking verb is one that does not show action. These are words that are not going to be able to be seen in someone doing an action in front of you. What it does is it connects or links a subject to a noun or an adjective in the predicate. You see that word bolded on your handout and a brief description underneath it that you also see here on the screen. A predicate is a part of a sentence or clause which tells us what a subject does or is. I'm going to give you some very common linking verbs, words that you've read a billion times, might have never ever realized, though, that they are linking verbs. These words would include is, are, was, I'm sure you can guess what's coming next, were, being, been, am. Words you've seen so many times, maybe never thought that's a verb, but it is. It links a subject to what the subject is or is doing. So let's look at an example here. Here's our example. Mark is a football player. Let's ask ourselves, what is the verb? And what is the subject and what's the predicate? What would your belief be about the verb, the subject, and the predicate? So Mark is the subject. That is who the sentence is about, is Mark. The verb is the word is, Of course, it's a linking verb. But then we have to ask ourselves, what is the predicate? What is Mark? And a lot of times when I ask students this question, they'll say football. Well, Mark is not a football. That's an adjective in this sentence. It describes what kind of player Mark is. So our word player is our predicate. It's the noun. It's what Mark is. Mark is a player. The word football is just an adjective there to describe what kind of player he is. Then the third and final kind of verb we're going to talk about is the helping verb. And the helping verb does exactly what it says. It helps the main verb express tense and tone. Tense, past tense, present tense, future tense, and then the tone with which something happens. Is it urgent? Urgent tone? Is it important tone? But it helps the verb and it needs to have an action verb with it. So you cannot have a helping verb without an action verb in the sentence working together with it. The helping verb also helps the action verb make sense in the sentence. And if you're looking for the helping verb, if I give you a sentence, I say, okay, find me the helping verb in this sentence. Here's a clue you should remember. The helping verb will come before the main verb of the sentence. It'll happen right before that action verb. So here's our example sentence. Susie will go to the store. In this sentence, there's a helping verb and there's an action verb. Can you figure out what each one of those verbs is? What is the helping verb in this sentence and what is the action verb? All right, let's start with the helping verb. And we said it comes before the main verb of the sentence. So Susie is who the sentence is about. And my helping verb is will. My action verb follows immediately after it, will go. Susie will go. Notice I changed the word will to must. Susie must go to the store. It sounds more urgent. It changes the tone of the sentence. Susie might go to the store. Changes the tense of the sentence. Susie did go to the store. There's past tense. Susie is going to the store. That's present tense. She's going right now. So changing the helping verb changes the tense, past, present, and future, or the tone of the sentence just by changing that helping verb. There are so many helping verbs that you could list here. You'll notice I have a partial list on your handout on the page we're working on. I'm going to go ahead and fill these in. And I want you to take a second and complete your chart to match up with the one you see on the screen. Shall, will, should, would, could, must, and might, may, have, had, has, do, did, and is, was, were, am, being, been, are, and can. This is not a complete list, but this is a lot of the common ones you're going to come across in your reading and your writing. You'll notice next we've got a section of 8 sentences here. And I'm going to challenge you to find the helping verb and the action verb in each of these sentences. I'm going to take a second here. I want you to pause the video and on your handout, fill in what you think the helping verb is in each sentence and what you think the action verb is in each sentence, and then we'll go over. All right, let's take a minute and go over the answers that you came up with for these 8 sentences. The first one says, I'm studying the amazing life of Wilma Rudolph. The subject here is I. That is who the sentence is about. The helping verb is am, and the action verb is studying. Second sentence, my class will write reports about this sports legend. The subject is class, the helping verb is will, and the action verb is write. Third sentence, we have read an exciting account of her triumphs. We is the subject, it's who the sentence is about. The helping verb is have, and the action verb is read. Teresa is painting a picture of the famous runner. Teresa's our subject. Is our helping verb. Painting is our action verb. On these next 4 sentences, we have Wilma had overcome serious physical problems. Wilma's our subject. Had is our helping verb. Overcome is our action verb. The people in Wilma's hometown were cheering for her. People is our subject. It's who it's about. Were is our helping verb. People were. People were doing what? They were cheering. So cheering is our action verb. People remember her accomplishments for years. Again, people is our subject here. Helping verb is will. Action verb is remember. And then finally, her stories inspired young athletes around the world. Subject here is story, one word, story. Helping verb is has, and obviously action verb comes right after, is inspired. So we have helping verbs, linking verbs, and action verbs. In the handout tonight, you're going to have 3 sections to do. In exercise 1, you're going to read each sentence and you're going to decide if the verb that is underlined is a linking verb or an action verb. As you look at each of the 15 sentences, you'll notice one word is underlined. And on the space provided, on that line provided next to the sentence, you would write an L, just the letter L, if it's a linking verb, and an A if it's an action verb. For exercise 2, you got 2 things to do for each of those 10 sentences. You're going to circle the main verb. What is the character doing? And then you're going to underline with one line the helping verb. So in number 1, it says, Nick will eat spaghetti and meatballs for dinner tonight. In that sentence, to help you out here and get you started, I would circle the word eat, and I will underline once the word will. And that would be how I do the other 9 sentences in that section. And then in exercise 3, to wrap up, you've got 3 types of verbs we're going to talk about: action, linking, and helping. And you're going to underline the verb or verbs. That's important to notice that there may be some sentences with more than one verb in it. And you're going to underline each verb you see in each sentence. And above it, you're going to put a letter A if it's an action verb. You're going to put a letter L if it's a linking verb. And you're going to put a letter H if it's a helping verb. So remember, some sentences may have more than one verb in them. Be sure to complete exercises 1 through 3 this evening so that we can go over it and make sure you're on the right track with our discussion of verbs moving forward.